How dare you show your face here after what you did? I go where I please, and you don't scare me.
Women like you don't belong here. Her voice sliced through the ballroom like a whip. Every head turned. In the center of the room, the billionaire's black wife stood still, her silver gown catching the chandelier's light. Across from her, a white woman in a blood-red dress glared with open contempt, unaware that in moments she will be begging for forgiveness. The Sterling Foundation Gala was the crown jewel of the city's social calendar. Inside the Grand Marlowe hotels, ballroom chandeliers bathed the marble floor in warm gold. Waiters moved with silent precision, refilling champagne flutes. Laughter swirled with the notes of a string quartet. Jonathan Sterling, the man of the hour, stood near the center, discussing a new children's hospital his foundation was funding. By his side was Amara, his wife elegant in a flowing silver gown, her natural curls framing a face both radiant and calm. She smiled easily at donors, listening more than she spoke, her presence as steady as the marble columns surrounding them. Across the room, Vanessa Carter watched with eyes sharp as cut glass. Once the darling of these circles, she had built her identity on lineage, old money, and the unspoken rules of the elite. In her world, new faces, especially ones that challenged the unspoken order, were met with suspicion, if not outright hostility, and Amara Sterling, in Vanessa's mind, was an affront. Vanessa's irritation had been simmering all evening. She noted the way Jonathan's hand rested lightly on his wife's back, the way guests gravitated toward her, the way she commanded the room without trying. It took only a spark. A young waiter brushed past Vanessa, a splash of champagne landing on her gown. She gasped, the cold liquid soaking into the silk. But instead of blaming the waiter, her gaze snapped toward Amara, standing a few feet away in conversation. In an instant, envy twisted into malice. Vanessa stalked forward, the heels of her shoes striking the marble like gunshots. Women like you don't belong here. She spat, her voice carrying above the music. The room fell into a stunned hush. Amara turned slowly, her eyes meeting Vanessa's. She did not speak. She did not flinch. She stood with quiet dignity, the silver fabric of her gown glinting under the light. But Vanessa wasn't done. You think that gown makes you one of us? You think marrying into money changes who you are? Her words dripped with disdain, each one meant to humiliate, and then without warning her hand came up and struck. Amara's cheek. The sharp crack seemed to echo against the ballroom walls. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Jonathan appeared at Amara's side instantly, his expression carved from stone. His voice, though calm, carried a weight that stilled the air. You just made the worst mistake of your life, he said to Vanessa, each word precise. He turned to the guests, his gaze sweeping the room. You all know my wife. You know the work. She has done building schools in villages without running water, funding hospitals in war zones, creating scholarship for children who would never otherwise see a classroom. And tonight, she came here to raise more money for those causes. He looked back at Vanessa, his eyes unblinking. And you came here to tear her down in public. The silence that followed was heavy. Guests shifted, some whispering, some glaring openly at Vanessa. Her bravado cracked. The realization of what she'd done and how the crowd now saw her washed over her in waves. She stepped forward, voice trembling. Amara, please. I didn't mean, but Amara raised a hand not in anger, but to stop her words. Her voice, when she spoke, was steady, carrying across the room. Some people believe status comes from birth. Others believe it comes from wealth. I believe it comes from how you treat people when you think no one can stop you. She let the words hang, then added, Tonight you've shown us who you are, and I choose not to become like you. Applause broke the silence, not the polite kind, but the deep, resonant kind that came from respect. Guests stepped aside as Amara and Jonathan walked toward the exit, their heads high. Some bowed their heads to her as she passed. Vanessa remained frozen in the center of the room, the cameras of society reporters trained on her, her face pale and her reputation unraveling before her eyes. True power is not in the title you hold or the wealth you display. It is in the dignity you keep when someone tries to strip it away.